Have you ever wanted to know when it's time to pull your onions? Well, this is the video for you. Stay tuned. Hey folks, welcome back to the Rockin' Sea Homestead. My name is Lance. I want to welcome you to our channel, and as you already heard, we're going to start pulling some of our onions. Not all of our onions are ready, but we're going to kind of show you what to look for to see if they are ready and when they are ready, and then how to pick them, and then how to start curing them afterwards. All right, so we have two different beds that have onions, and they're in different states of readiness. What's funny is this was planted first and they're still not ready. This bed over here was planted second and they're ready to go. Don't know why, other than this bed wasn't as amended before we planted. And so I think that may have just kicked those off a little bit better. But when you're in here, now this has a bunch of cover crop in it as well, so it looks a little overgrown. But if you can come into this one right here, see how this onion's still straight up? You know, you have a couple leaves that are kind of yellow and folded over, but the whole stem or stalk of it looking pretty good and it's still straight up. That means it's not ready. Even if this was knocked over, see if I can find one here. Like this one right here. See how it's kind of blown over? Actually, this is not blown over. Here, let's go to a different one. Back over here, Marcy. Sorry about that. So this right here. So this one here is knocked over, but it's knocked over from the bulb. It's not, this isn't this stalk isn't just crushed over like that one back there that we saw. Now, when it comes to is it ready or not, when the leaf starts yellowing and these have been knocked over or they're falling over and they're kind of pinched, and when you feel them, they're super soft, then that one's ready to go. Even this is a small one. You can see when I was starting to pull it, that starts kind of coming off there. But that's how you tell, even in a bed like this, where it looks like some of them may be ready, but for the majority of it, they're not ready to go. All right, now in this bed, almost every one of these things are ready. Maybe not this one, but for the most part, like this right here is a perfect example. Comes up, it's pinched over. It's definitely not a living plant for very much longer. And at that point, it comes up fairly easy. And we just got a box here we're going to put them in. And most of these are going to come up really, really easy. Because for the most part, an onion's not getting buried too deep. All you really need is the bottom half with the roots. So these things come up pretty quick. But I try to get down to the bulb area and kind of pull from that. And so we're going to do that. Even this one here where it's almost like it's not quite ready, we're going to pull it and say it's ready so we can transition this part of the bed to something else in our garden. All right, so you picked your onions, now what's next? So for us, it is storing them inside. We're gonna do a curing and drying process. So what does that mean, curing your onions? So for now, some people will, whenever they harvest them, they'll just leave them outside for a couple days. Typically, we don't wanna do that just because we don't want anything to come in there and grab it, some sort of animal or something like that. So we bring them inside and we're gonna set them up here. And as soon as we start pulling them like this, they're gonna start drying out. And what that will do, is the tops of these will kind of dry out and they will get a little bit tighter. The papery skin, that's going to be a protective, gets hard and it shrinks, and it kind of protects that onion bulb a little more. So that drying and curing process is what we're going to do now. So when it comes to curing your onions, typically what you'd want is someplace that's warm, low humidity, kind of dry but airy, kind of have a breeze through that kind of stuff, maybe a loafing shed. Unfortunately, we don't have anything that's secure where an animal or chicken or dog or something else wouldn't get in there, so we just don't really have any place out there other than our garden rack that we use to make our seedlings and all those kind of things. We use this for multi-purpose stages here during the garden season. So we're just going to use this. And typically what I'll do is I will not wash them. I'll just use them just like that. And I try not to water those onions that I'm about to pull up probably about a day, if I can 2 days, prior to us actually coming out here and picking them. And what that does is it kind of eliminates as much water in the onion, and it kind of helps them cure and preserve a little longer. So right now we're not going to clip that off. We're just going to store them up here. And in this batch we had red onions and yellow onions. And so we're just going to kind of put them up there and let them dry out. And then eventually, in about a couple months here, as you can see down here, we have some that have been dried out. So what I need to do with these is come in here. I usually pull those off, and I usually get some clippers. And that's usually what I'm typically storing. Now here in Oklahoma, since it's so hot and humid, you know, we really don't have basements and cold rooms and those kind of things. So it's hard for us to have long-term storage of onions. So typically, you know, just like if you just had an out. So typically what we do is once they get to the point where we're not able to keep up with eating them before they go bad, is we'll either dice them all up and freeze them, or do some sort of a dehydration project. Either where we slice them, store them, or possibly, you know, dice them all up, cut them up or whatever, dehydrate them, and then we can run it through like a spice grinder, and then you have onion powder. So all of those are really good ways to use these onions. And here for the last, like I said, like for the months or so, we've just been coming over here when we needed one for the kitchen, and we just grab it, and at that point we clean it up and we just let it go. Well guys, hopefully this has helped you guys figure out when your onions are ready to get pulled from your garden. I know for us, those first couple years, that's kind of what the hardest part of some of this was, to know when is it ready to get picked, when is it overdone, all those kind of, you know, overripe or whatever. Like these lettuces are getting pretty close to being kind of bolty over here. So getting pretty close to being at the end of those. It's getting super hot here in Oklahoma. But guys, thanks again for coming back watching our video. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell so you get notified every time a video comes up. And from our homestead to yours, have a blessed day. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.